1. The last sunrise of one world. For thousands of years, humanity looked upward and imagined the sky as a ceiling. Then came the century when the ceiling cracked. The first great leap did not begin with a single rocket, but with 1,000 lights rising from Earth every week. Orbital elevators shimmered above the oceans. Solar mirrors unfolded like golden flowers. Shipyards grew in low orbit, visible from the ground as bright rings moving among the stars. Earth was still home, but it was no longer enough. Its cities were crowded, its seas wounded, its forests guarded like sacred treasures. Humanity understood that survival could not depend on one planet alone. The first permanent settlements were built on the moon, not as flags planted in dust, but as living cities under glass domes. Beneath the pale surface, people carved shelters into lava tubes, grew gardens under artificial suns, and watched Earth rise with tears in their eyes. Children born there learned to walk in soft, bouncing steps, and their lullabies were filled with the glow of the blue planet. The moon became the first harbor of the human species. From its low gravity, ships could launch farther and faster. It was there that mankind stopped being only terrestrial and became truly spacefaring. 2. The Red World Awakens. Mars was the next dream, and the first great test. The journey took months, crossing silence so deep that every voice from Earth arrived as an echo from the past. When the first settlers descended through the thin atmosphere, the red world rose beneath them like a sleeping giant. Dust storms crawled across deserts larger than continents. Mountains touched the edge of space. Ancient riverbeds wound through valleys like memories of water. At first, survival was a daily battle. Habitats groaned under freezing winds. Machines failed. Crops struggled. The settlers learned to melt buried ice, build walls from Martian soil, and shield their homes beneath layers of regolith. Then the first greenhouses bloomed. Tiny leaves became a revolution. Moss spread across sealed gardens. Algae tanks breathed oxygen into metal cities. Mirrors in orbit warmed selected valleys, and factories released carefully controlled gases into the sky. Mars did not become Earth, but it began to change. Generations later, domed cities glowed across the red plains. Trains moved between canyon settlements. Children skated across frozen reservoirs beneath pink sunsets. Humanity had not conquered Mars. It had made a promise to live with it. 3. Cities among the giant worlds. Beyond Mars lay the realm of giants. Jupiter filled the sky like a living storm, its clouds rolling in endless bands of cream, copper, and gold. No one could live on its crushing surface, but mankind learned to live around it. Stations floated in the upper edges of its atmosphere, harvesting hydrogen and rare gases. Vast orbital cities circled its moons, powered by magnetic fields and fusion engines. Europa became a world of mystery. Beneath its ice, oceans moved in darkness. Robotic explorers melted downward through kilometers of frozen crust, carrying lights into a sea untouched by sunlight. Whether life existed there or not, humanity treated the ocean as a cathedral. Around Saturn, the expansion became beautiful. Mining ships sailed through the rings like silver fish through glittering rivers of ice. Titan's orange haze hid seas of methane and mountains of frozen stone. There, engineers built floating cities above strange lakes, wrapped in heated shells and glowing with amber light. The outer colonies were no longer outposts. They were nations of ice, storm, and orbit. Humanity had learned that a planet was not the only kind of home. A moon, a station, a ring, even a drifting vessel could become a birthplace. 4. The edge of the sun. The farther humanity traveled, the smaller the sun became. Past Uranus and Neptune, sunlight faded into a cold blue whisper. Here, the solar system turned into an archipelago of frozen worlds, comet fields, and dwarf planets moving through ancient darkness. The frontier was harsh, but it was rich. Out there, cities were built inside ice. Heat from fusion cores carved warm caverns beneath frozen crusts. Comets were guided into slow orbits and transformed into water reserves, fuel depots, and traveling gardens. The Kuiper Belt became the shipyard of deep space, because it held the materials needed for the greatest challenge mankind had ever imagined: leaving the solar system. For the first time, humans built vessels not meant for planets, moons, or years, but for centuries and stars. They were not simple ships. They were moving worlds, carrying forests, oceans, libraries, factories, families, and memory. Their engines bent light behind them. Their shields faced the invisible dust of interstellar space. When the first-generation ark crossed beyond the reach of the solar wind, every colony from Mercury orbit to Neptune's moons sent a signal. It was not goodbye. It was a vow. Humanity would return to the stars from which it was made. 5. The long night between stars. Interstellar space was not empty. It was a vast ocean without waves, a darkness filled with invisible dangers and silent beauty. The star arcs traveled for decades, then centuries. Some carried sleeping populations in crystal chambers. Others carried awake societies that lived and died beneath artificial skies. Inside them, seasons were designed, rivers were recycled, and children learned constellations that their ancestors had never seen from Earth. The voyage changed humanity. Languages blended. Cultures fused. Old borders became stories in archives. People began to think not in years, but in generations. Their identity was no longer tied to a country or even a planet, but to the journey itself. There were losses. Some ships vanished into silence. Others were damaged by dust impacts or engine failures. But mankind had become resilient. When one ark slowed, another sent supplies. When a habitat failed, its people were welcomed by another vessel. The species survived because it had finally learned cooperation on a cosmic scale. Then, after the long night, the first new sun grew bright ahead. Around it orbited a blue and silver world with clouds, oceans, continents, and 2 pale moons. The arcs slowed. The first probes descended. The first images returned. For the second time in history, humanity saw a world that might become home. 6. Beyond the first new Earth. The first extrasolar colony began carefully. No one wanted to repeat the mistakes of the past. The new world was studied before it was touched. Floating labs drifted through its atmosphere. Ocean probes listened beneath alien waves. Orbital mirrors mapped seasons, storms, and ecosystems. Humanity arrived not as conquerors, but as guests who knew that life, wherever found, was priceless. Where settlement was safe, cities rose lightly. They hovered above forests, floated on seas, or rested on bare stone without poisoning soil or water. The first interstellar gardens grew beneath unfamiliar stars. The first children born beyond the sun looked upward and saw constellations that had never watched over Earth. But the greatest transformation was not the colony itself. It was the network that followed. Signals crossed between stars through laser chains and quantum relays. More arcs launched from the solar system. New colonies built their own ships and traveled farther still. Humanity spread not like an empire, but like a constellation, each world a point of light connected by memory, science, art, and hope. Centuries later, the origin world was still remembered. Earth was no longer the center of civilization, but it remained the first home, the ancient garden, the blue beginning. And in every sky where humans lived, children were taught the same truth. The universe was never a cage. It was an invitation.